Are we about witnessing another war in Europe between Ukraine and Hungary? The stakes are high. Zelensky has been making serious threats directed to Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban. Don't train a monster that will end up consuming you. Europe may think that they are working against Russia by training a monster that will end up consuming them. By training Zelensky, by equipping him and arming him, thinking that they will use him to hurt Russia. Not knowing that if Zelensky could not be able to hurt Russia, and secondly, anytime Zelensky stops getting the food from Europe, he will get hungry. And when he gets hungry, where is he going to get the food? He will have to run to Europe. That's why sometimes President Putin will be laughing at EU, right? And that's also the reason why I think President Putin don't want to bring Zelensky down. He doesn't want to hurt him because he knows that the EU leaders, they are breeding, they are training a monster that will end up consuming all of them.
Надіємося, що одна особа в Євросоюзі не буде блокувати 90 мільярдів або перший транш 90 мільярдів і у українських воїнів буде зброя. Інакше дамо адресу цієї особи нашим Збройним силам, хлопцям нашим, нехай вони йому дзвонять і з ним спілкуються своєю мовою.
It was an open threat. He said if Viktor Orban continued to do the way he's doing, he will have no choice but to give Viktor Orban's house address to his army to visit him and speak to him in a language he will understand. But of course, the EU leaders are not going to say anything about it. This is what will happen to each and every EU leaders anytime the monster gets hungry and cannot find food. Of course, he can't get the food from Russia because Russia is bigger and stronger than him. So you have to look for soft landing. Also, yesterday, the Hungary authority or armed forces or police, whatever they are, made some arrest. They arrested some Ukrainian national involved in the heat is gradually getting on. And all these things are happening simply because Hungary decided not to be part of the war between Russia and Ukraine. They just want to be neutral. Another reason is that Hungary keeps buying Russia oil. Of course, you know that the EU placed a sanction on Russia oil, right? But Hungary and Slovakia have been buying Russia oil, which they are getting through Ukraine. Zelensky recently blocked a pipeline that transferred this oil. That's what brought about this current tension that is going on now to the point that Zelensky will now have to make a direct threat to Viktor Orban by saying that he could give his house address to his soldiers, to Ukrainian soldiers, so that they can visit him in his house and speak to him in a language that he will understand. This is a very bigger issue here. Of course, the EU leaders are not going to take it serious because it's happening to Viktor Orban. But they fail to realize that after Viktor Orban, it will also happen to another person because they are breeding, training a monster that they will end up not being able to control. Because their mindset is that, let's build him, let's fortify him, let's make him strong so that he can be able to fight against Russia. It doesn't matter how you build Zelensky, it doesn't matter how you build Ukraine, it doesn't matter how much you invest there, they can